What turns you on in PRN but was a disaster in real life? I'm just going to say right now, be real careful with the reverse cowgirl. Now you know how the iron Pixar feels. Outdoor and public sex. It went well. My wife wanted to have sex in the yard a few months ago. So we went out. And did just that. In the middle of it, I realized that I had never checked if there was any dog poop around. There wasn't any smell. And it was going great. So I moved on. Just as I was about to finish, the sprinklers turned on. So we grabbed everything and ran to the patio. We were laughing so hard. So we kissed and started back up again. Standing up on the patio. It was some of the best sex I have ever had. Anyway, she is due in April. Tried a vacuumed. Turned out I am allergic to latex. The first time I tried an LSX, I thought it felt just like eyeing a vagina. After a while I told her that. And she said, that is my vagina. I said, why didn't you tell me? And she said it felt good. So I didn't want you to stop. What can I tell you? The lights were out. Self-bondage. Don't do it alone or you will be putting yourself in some serious trouble. A friend of mine was lucky enough that I had to go to their house because I had forgotten something there the last day. He wasn't picking up any calls or anything. And no one had seen him. So I worried. Went to his home. Peeked through a window and saw him cuffed and chained to a pipe in his kitchen with a collar. The keys were in front of him but out of reach. I called a locksmith to open the door, but didn't let him see my friend, and saved him. He had been there for at least 12 hours. Anything humiliation related. When I'm horny it's hot, but when I've busted it would activate my depression. Sex with a delivery guy. Are you saying that it didn't deliver? Standing up? What? How does that even work? It works with someone who is fun-sized. The protagonist in PRN is usually pretty fit. In my life, the protagonist is me. Finishing on the face in this one video in which she kept asking what was her favorite genre of music for some reason. I have this but reverse. I'm into BDSM. Actually doing all that stuff and being tied up and degraded is amazing when I'm experiencing it. But watching it. Disaster is a bit of an exaggeration, but I had a girlfriend that let me put it in her butt a couple times and I just wasn't in love with it. A lot hotter in PRN, but in real life I was just thinking there was a perfectly fine vagina right there. Right? More prep. More easing in. Didn't feel any better. Didn't smell lovely. Chance of poo. I dunno, it just had the naughty factor, but that's about it. Getting a BJ under the table while other people are completely oblivious. Wouldn't have the balls to attempt that. Hentai. Can't draw tits to save my life. Orgy. Remember. The type of people you want at an orgy are never the kinds of people at the orgy. If everyone is eyeing you, that's a gangbang. Food stuff. Especially chocolate. Chocolate. It's just so gross in practice. Tastes like hair and sweat. Impossible to clean off. And it literally looks like smears. Not very hot in person. Pastrami is the most sensual of the salted cured meats. Public sex. Threesome. Me and 2 women. They fairly quickly forgot about me. My attempts to join weren't batted away. But there was no effort to keep me in either. It was quite easy to see that they were enjoying each other when I wasn't involved. Are you Ross? Standing sex. Unless you both are just the right heights and like focusing more on standing than sex. The cake PRN where they put ice cream and icing on each other and it comes in contact with their bits. The real world. Salutes major yeast infection. Rough blowjobs turn me on in PRN. But in real life it just hurts and I'm covered in snot. Also dildos. Fun in PRN, but I can't get anything bigger than a pencil inside when I'm on my own. Actually everything in PRN is probably a disaster. I got an What the are you doing? Once for trying to alternate between an L and vaginal. Those fellas on the computer do it like it's the most natural thing in the world. But I had to learn from experience that it's actually really dangerous for the vagina possessing participant. Which makes perfect sense after it was pointed out to me. Kinda like how I try to avoid getting fesses stuck up my urethra. Makes me wonder how PRN stars are able to do it so confidently. They plan their eating in advance and douche the bejesus out of the ass. SX in the car. It looks more lustful and well positioned in movies. Unless you know how to arrange your seats. Getting caught by someone. In PRN I love that cause usually that person joins in. Lol, that's not usually what happens in real life. Edit. Thanks for the upvotes. Group SX is the place where your SZIL repression meets your physical insecurities. Asking what a step sibling is doing. In real life. What are you doing? Step bro. Oh, I'm just speedrunning Halo 3. Why are you naked? There is no such thing as too much lube for an L. SX on a plane. X and I went into the bathroom discreetly. About 2 minutes apart. We did the deed. Though there was absolutely no room for any limbs. It was like playing Twister in a tin can. Get back to our seats and all is well and good. Until a flight attendant approaches us and berates us in front of everyone, if they were unaware beforehand. They definitely knew after he showed up. Threatening to arrest us when they landed. Etc. We played innocent and acted shocked about his accusations in front of several families around us. 10/10 would not recommend. Unless you have a private jet. All bets are off if you have a private jet. I once tried to my girlfriend in the standing position by picking her up and thinking I could hold her with just my arms and dick. Instead she fell to the ground and slammed her head. Though she declined any medical attention, that did put a stop to any SX for us for the rest of the day. Threesome. Never with a wife and one of her female friends. Ruined a friendship and I got a guilt trip for months about her not being enough. Lol, I dated a girl years ago who was jealous AF. Like delete all your female friends on FB jealous. Who also wanted to have a threesome with random girls. That was a disaster waiting to happen. I was smart enough to always talk her out of it. Shower SX. Thought it was going to be great. But every time I've tried it the experience has been disappointing. There are just so many cons. Water is an anti-lubricant. Someone is always either cold or being waterboarded. It's usually cramped. And there's always the risk of slipping and seriously injuring yourself. Life's a disaster. Let MP on you. Get my cock blown after I've shot a huge wad. My belland is super sensitive after I've blown my load and the slight feeling of getting it cleaned by a mouth feels like SI punishment. This is what moaning is for. You can get through it. And then you'll never want to not. It's like screaming when you get hurt. Just say oh fuck. And let them finish. It's not pain. Just so super sensitive. Like when you first started masturbating and it almost hurt to finish. Ripping pantyhose. I have a huge nylon fetish. And it seems so normal on PRN. I forget that my wife is a normal woman with normal pubic hair. So when I grab those pantyhose to rip, I end up pulling on pubes. It definitely takes the mood down quite a few pegs. Extreme amounts of ejaculate. As in being filled with semen. Partner and I executed this with a squirting toy and some warmed cum lube. We had to get a new mattress and thoroughly clean a wall after my ass unleashed projectile lube and Santorum as soon as the toy was removed. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I hope my anal mishap put a wide smile on your faces. Shower SX is almost always crappy. I know it's more in regular movies than PRN. But still. SX on the beach looks all romantic and fun in the movies, but in real life sand just gets everywhere. She wanted to go for an LSX. I was like, why not? She started crying in pain. Lasted about 5 seconds and when I pulled out I had a peek. Well, Maybe it's better if I stop talking about it. Can't go to a party at Poop's house then get mad when Poop shows up. You cannot imagine how difficult it is to hold a half gallon of moo juice and polish the one I'd go for when you're doing 75 in an 18-wheeler. Kidnapping. Apparently those people need food. I said I didn't have money to pay for my pizza delivery. He called the cops instead. My stepsister made things awkward for 5-6 years until I was able to her fiancé registered sign and cancel out the cloud of bad juju. Stealing someone's lemons. They totally didn't get tased for trespassing. Scissoring. Sesame timbers. Premarital kissing. Weird enough cream peas. Love the genre. But doing it in real life can be terrifying. Only did it once with a one-nighter cause she said I couldn't prop second-guessed myself for 9 months after lol. Not ready for the kid life so I had to temper my desires cause it's not always the easiest to find someone to do that with. Talking dirty. I'm not very good at it. Maybe because I'm English and too polite. Forget phone sex too. I did it once but I kept wanting to giggle. I felt stupid trying to explain what I was meant doing. I have Cockney accent apparently quite SI but not when I do it. I love watching verbal PRN though. Degrading dirty talk. I'm into normal dirty talk and in PRN I'm weirdly turned on by the more degrading stuff. Like the guy calling the woman a little or something. Tried it once with a FWB and nearly smacked him for calling me even though I specifically asked him to do just that. Baby oil. Looks really cool but ruins pretty much everything it touches. Friend managed a hotel for a short bit. Said one day he got called to a room by the maids. A couple rented a room. Paid a cash deposit. Held a drug-fueled baby oil orgy in the hotel room. Then bailed at 5 AM. There were a dozen empty bottles of baby oil scattered around the room. Drug paraphernalia. Used condoms. Wrappers. Ruined lingerie. The sheets were covered in baby oil and stuck to the bed. Maids refused to touch the room. He had to bag the bedding. Towels. Leftover clothing and toss it in the dumpster. Toss the bed and furniture. Then steam clean the carpet. Well. Here's the thing about PRN for me. I look at most of the stuff like I look at war movies. It's great fantasy. But if even a tiny bit of it was true I would be freaked out and disgusted. Roleplay. With a costume. Maybe that works for some people but imagine doing this for someone else and not being into the idea at all. And, to be clear, I completely misunderstood the assignment. Ugh. Still cringe thinking about it. Threesome. MMF. I'm the F. One of the guys was my boyfriend. The other a friend. The friend couldn't keep it up. And the boyfriend was hesitant to take over. As to not wound the pride of the friend. I would imagine. Handcuffs. She really wasn't digging it. So no more. Vor. Whatever you do, think about post-nut clarity. 2 words. Chain collar. I guess I didn't realize it would hurt. Was in Thailand once doing a girl an LLY doggy style when I realized that my balls were slapping against her balls. What a party. Shower sex. Don't even dare. Squirting. It's all fun and games until you're being waterboarded or people think you ate the bed. People who are stuck in under things while bent over. Turns out that's not an open invitation. No harm in asking. Although HR apparently disagrees with me. When the girl is in cowgirl and jumps up and down on the guy's dick. To all the women reading. Do not do this. It hurts and ruins the mood. The correct technique is to move your hips back and forth in cowgirl. You don't want to crush your partner's pelvis. The only reason why they do it in PRN is so they can get a good shot of the guy's dick going into the vagina. And the male PRN star's dick is giant enough to get a good shot of this. Don't do it in real life. Please. I love you. Assume we Redditors have sex, good sir. Being a fairly tall dude, I can tell you most positions are untenable if my partner is significantly shorter than me. Which, as said, being a fairly tall dude makes 80% of my partners significantly shorter than me. Which sucks because some positions feel really good. I am really into gay wrestling where the loser get it, but I don't have strong body, so wrestling in real life could kill me. Slapping a vagina. Turns out it's not as pleasurable as they make it look. That should be something you talk about beforehand. Tit. Turns out it's really ineffective. Depends on the tits. The two best tits I had were with biggish silicone tits, smaller than Pam Anderson, but big enough to get a wow out of me, and really big naturals. I'm happy to give it another chance. But BDSM has been a disappointing flop. Partners that starfish expect me to do everything as the dominant is tiring and leaves me feeling unpleasantly used. That makes me sad. Dom and I are very reciprocal. We also discuss in detail before and after, not in the bedroom, our thoughts about what we did, what worked for us and what didn't, and any limits that might be moved based on our last scene. We also have vanilla sex once in a while. And some days just cuddle and watch TV. I do think that before you start, you need to have a connection and a healthy discussion about wants and needs. Pregnancy risk. Wet and messy clothes filling. Doesn't feel as sexually arousing as watching it happen to other people, and it also went up crevices that I freaked out about. Threesomes. They are so awkward in real life. I've had 2 FMF that were just strange. One FMF that was great, because the 2 women were like best friends that loved each other and messed around with each other all the time. And I had a MFM that was decent too. But it takes like this perfect blend of people and comfort levels. And one person even being slightly uncomfortable or jealous ruins the whole thing. Edit. That's a hint for guys and girls. Don't try to get your partner to do threesomes unless they are 100% non-jealous and very secure. And even then, when it comes down to the moment, you might need to back out for their sake anyway. Wearing a top hat and high heels while getting a blowjob. Listening to heavy metal. In a chicken shed. With the farmer shaking cowbells while standing on a hay bale dressed in a Dorothy from Wizard of Oz dress. Tentacles. And now we know why Xanthopus is banned from the aquarium. I'm so tired of these circle jerk SX questions from 13-year-olds on this sub. Riding or girl on top or whatever. 90% of my partners don't do it in a way that lets me get enough sensation, so I end up getting soft. And then it turns into I must not be attractive enough for you bullcrap and an unpleasant talk. Which really ruins it. So I don't even let it happen now unless it's a girl who's not insecure. An alarming number of them don't understand that your dick likely isn't going to be diamonds every second the entire time, and don't understand that some things feel better than others. It gets annoying. Stop being so serious and have fun. I'll stay on top and keep doing all the work. But it's psychologically pretty hot to have girl on top. When they do it right. Though. It's amazing. That indecent with my stepmom. SX while camping. Every 10 seconds we kept thinking we heard twigs snapping, and it was impossible to actually stay in any kind of mood. It's hard being a scout master, ain't it? Dart. Men apparently subsist on nothing but vodka and Dr. Pepper. I'm sorry. What? SX in the shower. SX in a bathtub. IDKNL? I've never tried it 100%, but I've heard some Thai stories. Foot fetish stuff. Def more exciting on screen. Whipped cream on any part of the body, just a sticky sweet gooey mess. Horrible. Then it gets on sheets and ugh. At least flavored lube serves a utile function and works. When PRN stars show the cum in their mouths after blowjobs. Big clits. But felt like I was messing with a small penis. When a woman wraps her legs around a man's waist. And they do it standing up. Him holding her up. I am an inch taller than my partner. And we are the same weight. He can't lift me a foot off the ground. Let alone up to dick level. Face it. I'm going to have to find someone who's built like Shrek. Gonna have to get some ogre dick. Hello. I was hooking up with this chick I had been trying to bone for a couple months. We had been drinking and all over each other at the bar. We went back to my place and we proceeded to rip each other's clothes off. I flipped her around so I could get a taste of that salad. But when I went in for the feast, all I could smell was my homie's dick. Sucks she had been booking up with him. Thought he was faithful. You know what your friend's dick smells like? Went for an L to save her virginity and the pain made her throw up. Edit. Ah yes. The horny religious followers poop hole loophole. Me in the ass cause I love Jesus. I got really turned on when I watched CNC content, consensual non-consent. I love the idea of a pay fetish. I'm a sub girl and wanted to be wrapped like I saw because it was my deep pleasurable thought until I had someone tell me they will do it with me. Well, we didn't discuss a safe action, and when I was being slapped, punched, and torn up, I couldn't speak because my mouth gagged and I sat in pain. Not able to call a safe word and stop didn't do anything as much as I screamed it. It was mortifying being actually wrapped. 0/10 Never tell a man you have a CNC fetish. Dude, I'm so sorry you had this experience. For BDSM stuff it's imperative to have a non-verbal safe cue. Like a tap out or a head shake nut up. And if your partner doesn't respect your no, that is RP. Full stop. That kind of play requires so much trust. My partner knows that when I say no or ow, that doesn't mean stop. Pineapple means stop. Vigorous head shake means stop. Trying to have sex IRL is a disaster for me. Letting the tentacles get full control by letting them lift me off the ground and then trying to go limp. Riley Reid. Blowjob from mother-in-law. Made things wired forever. PRN isn't really that great. I don't understand it. It's always been this hyped up thing. And most of what I have always wanted from someone else in a relationship like that was intimacy. Just the comfort of understanding that you can be who you are and being with that person knowing full well what they are. Being in full acceptance and sharing the future together. Whatever it may bring. Yes. I'm married. For 15 years now and no end in sight. 2 kids. So, maybe I was just too late to the party. But PRN was never really for me. Where that one comment of a guy who thought he had a scat fetish and immediately had an escort in his mouth. Which he deeply regretted soon after.